I haven't given up when it comes to Jasmy. I don't plan on selling Jasmy anytime soon. I haven't sold any Jasmy because $1, that's still my price target. So when people are somewhat panicking over this price pullback, that's not my style. If anything, I'll accumulate more, even though this isn't financial advice. Again, $1 is my price target for this bull run. Now, people may think that this is impossible because they think that Jasmy is not a good enough project, fundamentally speaking. Well, I'll have to disagree on that because when you take a look at data storage, this is on the rise. And as we all know, Jasmy, it's focused on data democracy. Basically, it's just a way of saying how it's focused on decentralizing data storage. Not really that fancy, but it's very amazing if you take a look at its use case. Because why is decentralization so important? Because logically speaking, if we just think about this in a basic approach, would it be easier if, let's say, someone hid their treasure in one location to get breached, right? Or let's say they hid their treasure in 50 different locations. Now, even if, let's say, in those 50 locations, even 5 gets breached, they still have 45 treasure chests left in this scenario, right? So this is why decentralization is so amazing. Data storage nowadays primarily is very centralized. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that in the grand scheme of things because it is working and there's nothing really drastically wrong with it, but it could be improved. And that is where decentralization does step in because, usually there's these multiple single points of failures, typically controlled by a single entity. Just beyond the fact that some people don't want a single entity controlling their data, some other people also are kind of scared what happens if it does get breached. If, let's say, an entity becomes very massive, typically in some cases, we've seen it become these, sort of targets in a sense for these breaches and whatnot. However, no matter how massive something gets, if it's very decentralized, it's just going to be very difficult to get breached. I'm not saying that it can't, but then it's very difficult. So the way I view it is that when it comes to Jasmy, it has the right mindset. And there's data that showcases why this market is on the rise. Take a look at Fortune Business Insights predicting that the global data storage market size is anticipated to be worth nearly $800 billion by 2030. That's massive. Now, people may think that Jasmy isn't going to see mass adoption in the next 6 months to a year, but it doesn't matter because people don't care about this type of stuff. Think about Solana. Does Solana have good adoption? No, it's known for meme coins. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm bullish on Solana meme coins. Like, for instance, I like Myro, I like Maneki, I like Wen. I'm not saying that when it comes to Solana, it's bad by any means. However, it doesn't have good adoption, if that makes sense. It doesn't have this dynamic mass scale adoption. It has good perceived adoption in a sense, like many people think it could do good in the future. Also, people think that it has good anticipated adoption as well. And people also, again, in some cases think that, oh, wow, it looks fancy. That means the adoption must be amazing. However, in reality, Solana in its current form, adoption, again, isn't the best, but people don't care about that. They care about the narrative. And when it comes to Jasmy, focused on the data storage market, that narrative is massive. And I think it's on the rise. The price of Jasmy may not show it as of right now, but when you consider when I first started talking about Jasmy back in early 2023, relatively speaking, we're still up by a lot since then. Now I get it, there's a pullback, but I haven't sold any because $1, that's still my price target. And when you have the right people running Jasmy, I'm talking about former people who have worked at places like Sony and KPMG. I highly doubt that Jasmy's on the wrong hands, or in the wrong hands, I would say. Not to mention, if you take a look at Jasmy, first ever legally compliant cryptocurrency in the country of Japan, people even refer to it as the Bitcoin of Japan simply because of this. So when you take a look at this, this is how amazing Jasmy is. I'm not saying it is actually the Bitcoin of Japan in a literal sense, but people often refer to that. It's like, for instance, when people get tissue, they refer to it as Kleenex, right? Even though the actual name is tissue paper, but then they refer to it in terms of the brand. So when people oftentimes think about the Bitcoin of Japan, they don't usually think about the actual Bitcoin, they think about Jasmy. So when it comes to Jasmy, it does have a very good reputation, especially, again, in Japan. Now, it still is going to take some time for it to become more global, I would say. However, you take a look at Jasmy's exchange listings, it's very fantastic. So I think this will have no issues reaching hypothetically the price of $1. Not to mention, Jasmy has something that can't really be designed or sort of bought in a sense, and that is its passionate and very amazing community. A project can be designed to have good fundamentals, it can be designed to look cool, it can be designed to be amazing from the ground up fundamentally, but what can't be designed is having a very strong and passionate following. Because take a look at, for instance, Arweave and Filecoin. These are the competitors for Jasmy. They're focused on the same market, again, decentralizing data storage. But you take a look at Filecoin and Arweave, Do they have a passionate community? Or should I say as passionate as Jasmy? Nowhere close. That's not even a competition. Jasmy, the community, feels like a meme coin. And I mean that in a good way. The passion, the drive, the enthusiasm is there. Are we even Filecoin? Fundamentally, they don't really lose out to Jasmy, by the way. But then it's just kind of lacking. They don't have the it factor, if that makes sense. When you take a look at Arweave, Filecoin, you take a look at Jasmy, you take a look at Sidecoin Storage, I think Jasmy pretty much stands on a league of its own in terms of the community. Fundamentals, pretty much all the same. But I think that when it comes to the community, again, this is the best one out there when it comes to this type of project. And I really can't wait, because imagine if Jasmy were to go to the price of $1. It doesn't sound as insane as what some people may say, because at that point, market cap would be nearly $50 billion, which isn't crazy. We've seen Dogecoin reach over 80 billion, and I don't think this is too much to ask for, especially when you consider how Jasmy is pretty much the most reputable one in this space. And if people believe in data storage solutions and there really isn't that many options as of right now, guess who they're really going to look into? Something like Jasmy. Now, arguably, some people like to say that Filecoin is number one, but Filecoin, again, doesn't have that passion, that drive in the community, even though I don't think it's a bad project by any means. However, I think Jasmy is pretty much the go-to in this space. It's very interesting, and when a bull run could be this amazing, I highly doubt that it's going to do bad. Take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption, not to mention how there's over 500 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research, more than ever before in history. I think this one could be very amazing, but it's just a waiting game, really. Now, some people like to overcomplicate it by day trading or using leverage, but for me, it really is just a waiting game. I'm not in here for just a week or 2 weeks. Again, I got into Jasmy in early 2023, so it's not like I thought that, oh yeah, this is going to be a 1 week thing and then I'm out. No, I had a long-term mindset. I've pretty much been in Jasmy for 2 years at this point, give or take. So the way I view it is that I'm not going to give up right now. I want to see hypothetically my prediction maybe become a reality. I'm not guaranteeing it will, but I just want to see it, see what happens. You know, I made it this far to quit or give up. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, for instance, let's say someone runs a 10-mile marathon. Maybe they're like 50th place or whatever by the time it's like 8 miles, but why not just finish it? That's just the way I take a look at it. Why not, right? I've made it that far. It doesn't matter if it's first place. Like, for instance, Jasmy. Is it going to be the best performing project out there? Absolutely not. Is it going to be the worst either? I don't think so. But you know what? I don't mind, because the dollar is around a 37x from here. It's not going to be the best, by the way, upside. There's going to be a microcap that's going to defeat it, but I don't mind, because I'm not looking for a microcap, but I'm not looking for a dinosaur either, like a Bitcoin or like, you know, a Solana or something like that. So I'm going to just stay patient. Really, I think better days are ahead. And I think growth beyond the price of 20 cents could really feel exponential, because once it goes to the price of 20 cents, people are going to be like, oh, 40 cents is just a 2x away. Then 80 cents is a 2x from that. And then $1 is just within reaching distance. So I think better days are ahead. And I think in the next 6 months to 10 months, things could be very different, but I'm just staying patient. When I consider the trajectory of Bitcoin, imagine once Bitcoin reaches that next level of 150,000, 200,000, maybe 250,000. Really, Jasmy at the price of $1, I don't see why not, which is why I'm still staying patient and I'm not giving up. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.